So, no, I wouldn't say I have a passion for HR.
Welcome back to Human Resources for the People. It's a human capital revolution. Today, we're going to be talking about California doing away with background checks. This article is from the Employer Report. It's navigating U.S. and global employment law. I encourage you to check them out. The link is down below if you'd like to take a look at them. They're really interesting. And it's written by Michael Brewer, Benjamin Ho, Goli Rahimi, Zachary Reeves, and Robin Samuel. And it's a recent article. Again, please check it out if you're interested. So, a couple days ago, a week ago actually, California legislators met to discuss an overhaul of their employment-related criminal background checks. Now, barring any federal law, each state has their control over background checks. And the proposed law, SB 809, California will have the most restrictive criminal background check law in the country, and it will limit, how you can vet applicants for employment. So, currently it's only after an initial offer of employment, which I don't understand why you wouldn't do that anyway. Why an employer would do it before the offer. It costs more money. I don't know of any employers that do it otherwise. But then it says, the employer must make adverse employment decisions based on criminal history only after conducting an individualized assessment. And this is a little frustrating, right? We're not allowed to do individualized assessments as HR people because we would be accused of discriminating, right? And so we're not able to make sort of an across the board ban on specific things. I worked for one company that actually had a matrix that said, well, if it's this offense over 7 years, then it's X. We could hire them or not hire them. And I think that that's a lot fairer than sort of making this assessments based on specific history, because no matter what, you're always going to be wrong. You're never going to make the right decision when you do that. It does say in the duties of the job, and that is important. I'm sure that the intention here is that, for example, a packer out on the line, you shouldn't have to care what their background is. I just disagree with that. If they want to pay my insurance bills, or if they want to pay my company's insurance bills, when things like this happen, then fine. But it will just become more and more expensive to be an employer in California. These background checks don't exist for fun. They don't exist to eliminate people from specific jobs. They do it to protect the profitability of the company and, the long-term viability of that company. And when that's at risk, it'll only result in higher insurance premiums and drive further businesses out of the state. So I don't see this as being necessarily good. The Fair Chance Act will make it unlawful for an unemployment practice to take adverse action against an employer, discriminate against an employee in the terms, conditions, or privileges of their employment based on their arrest or conviction history. Except for when provided for by statute. I suppose that, this is mostly aimed at federal laws, right? But if there was a state law in specific that had an employment-related background check, wouldn't this mean that that is a discriminatory law? I don't understand how we can make the assumption that some laws are good, which encourage background checks, and some laws are bad. There are reasons that they exist, and outside of the ones that California can't control, the ones that they can control within their state, you would think that that would be recognized. And that's the whole. I really strongly disagree with this idea of one size fits all policy. But even when there are criminal history checks permitted, Fair Chance Act will require them to require employers to post a clear and conspicuous notice informing applicants and employees of their rights, which is silly. The informing of their rights is an absolute absurd sort of idea that has gone forward in the world. So, I mean, just think about this. There's nowhere else. There's no sort of discussions elsewhere outside of employment where you have to know your rights around employment. Think about it. You have rights every day, so to speak, that are considered under these type of laws, but not once do you have to have it posted. It's just insane. It's I fully disagree with discriminating across the board, discriminating against potential employees with respect to crimes. I think it's important to take things on a case by case basis, but this doesn't allow for that. And that's why it's a little bit crazy. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I recognize this is a controversial take, but I'd love to hear more what you think, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye, guys.